Zion Williamson's holdout has nothing to do with getting a bigger contract. It's about a secret clause already in his contract that could make his $197 million deal completely worthless. The media is selling a simple story. Zion wants more guaranteed money, and the Pelicans are playing hardball over his injury history. That's the surface-level narrative, a classic player versus owner dispute. But the reality is a far more calculated power play, hidden deep inside the NBA's collective bargaining agreement and a specific section of Zion's contract known as Exhibit 3. We've pulled the CBA language, mapped the timeline of the negotiations, and analyzed the financial leverage that shows this isn't just a negotiation, it's a structural time bomb designed by the Pelicans front office. This isn't just about one player. This is about a precedent that could change how all max contracts for injury-prone stars are written. So today, we're going to break down the 3 questions that expose the entire game. First, what is the exact contract language that puts nearly $200 million at risk? Second, how can the Pelicans legally enforce such a brutal clause, and what tools does Zion have to fight back? And third, why is this battle happening right now, and what are the hidden motives driving both sides to the brink of a full-blown crisis? Stick around, because the answers reveal a side of the NBA's business you are not meant to see. Let's start with the question that changes everything. Is this the first time a team has tried to put an injury escape hatch into a superstar's max contract? The answer is no, and the precedent was set by a player who knows a thing or two about missing games, Joel Embiid. Back on October 10, 2017, the Philadelphia 76ers signed Embiid to a 5-year, $148 million extension. On the surface, it was a massive vote of confidence in a player who had only appeared in 31 total games in his first 3 seasons. But the Sixers' then GM, Brian Colangelo, wasn't betting blindly. According to reporting from ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski and Zach Lowe at the time, the contract contained complex and specific language that protected the team. If Embiid suffered a catastrophic injury to his feet or back, the specific areas of his previous problems, and missed 25 or more games in a single season, the Sixers had the right to waive him for a fraction of his remaining salary. The contract reportedly listed the exact bones in his feet that were covered by the clause. This wasn't just a general physical. This was a surgical, lawyer-driven document that essentially turned his max deal into a series of 1-year prove-it deals. The key was the number of games played. If Embiid played a minimum of 1,650 minutes in a season, certain injury protections for the team would fall away, making more of his money guaranteed. The Sixers created a sliding scale of risk. The more Embiid played, the more he earned, and the less power the team had. This set the modern blueprint for how a front office can hedge its biggest bet. So while the public saw a $148 million commitment, the reality was a contract filled with conditional triggers and financial off-ramps, all perfectly legal under the CBA. What the Pelicans are doing with Zion isn't new. They're just taking the Embiid blueprint and dialing the intensity up to a level the league has never seen before. So how is it even possible for a max contract not to be fully guaranteed? This is the most shocking part of the whole story because it's built directly into the league's rulebook. The common belief is that a max deal is a max deal. The money is locked in. The truth lies in Article 2, Section 7 of the NBA's collective bargaining agreement, which covers designated rookie-scale extensions. This is the type of contract Zion signed. While the CBA sets the maximum salary figures, it also gives teams and players wide latitude to negotiate exhibits or addendums that include performance incentives. These are usually for positive achievements, like making an All-NBA team, which would trigger a supermax salary escalator. However, the CBA does not prohibit teams from writing in protective or punitive incentives. This is the loophole the Pelicans are driving a truck through. According to insider reports from September 2025, Zion's Exhibit 3 doesn't just focus on games played. It reportedly includes specific weigh-in targets and body fat percentage requirements that must be met at multiple checkpoints throughout the season. If he fails to meet these benchmarks, portions of his future salary convert from guaranteed to non-guaranteed. Think about that. He could play 65 games, but if he doesn't meet a weight clause, he could still forfeit millions of dollars. This is where a capologist's perspective is crucial. Most standard NBA contracts have guarantees tied to a specific date. For instance, a player's salary for the season becomes guaranteed if he is not waived by early January. What the Pelicans have reportedly done is create rolling guarantee triggers tied to both availability and physical conditioning. This is a level of micromanagement rarely seen in a max contract. From a sports lawyer's perspective, this is a brilliant, if ruthless, piece of contract architecture by the Pelicans. It's designed to be defensible because it's framed as promoting the player's health and availability, something an arbitrator might see as reasonable. The Pelicans aren't just protecting themselves from another season-ending injury, they're protecting themselves from the very factors they believe contribute to those injuries in the first place. This is the cold, hard reality of the CBA. A max contract is only as max as the fine print allows it to be. Now we get to the core receipt. What does this secret clause actually say? While the official contract is private, multiple league sources have reported the framework to journalists. The language in Exhibit 3 is believed to create a tiered system. The full $197 million only becomes fully guaranteed if Zion plays in at least 60 games, a number he's hit only once in his career for several consecutive seasons. If he plays between 50 and 59 games, a smaller portion of his future salary becomes guaranteed. If he plays fewer than 50 games, the team reportedly gains the option to waive him with a significantly reduced financial penalty, similar to the Embiid deal. But the Pelicans added another layer. The contract allegedly stipulates that the sum of Zion's weight in pounds and his body fat percentage must remain below 295. Regular weigh-ins would determine his compliance. Let's be crystal clear about the impact. If Zion starts the season at 270 pounds and 12% body fat, his total is 282. He's safe. But if his weight creeps up to 280 pounds and his body fat hits 15%, his total is 295. He's now in breach of the clause, and millions of future guarantees could evaporate. This clause weaponizes the scale. It gives the front office immense ongoing leverage over a player's physical condition in a way that goes far beyond a standard physical. Zion's camp, led by his agents at CAA, argues that this is an unfair and overly punitive system. They contend that a player's body fluctuates and that tying guarantees to such rigid metrics invites the team to void the contract over minor issues. The Pelicans, under general manager David Griffin, see it as the only responsible way to manage a 9-figure investment in a player who has missed over 150 games in his young career. This isn't a negotiation over a few $1,000,000. This is a fundamental disagreement over the definition of guaranteed. To understand the betrayal Zion's camp feels, you have to look at the timeline. This wasn't a surprise sprung on them at the last minute. This was a slow burn. Back in July of 2025, at the team's Summer League press conference, David Griffin was all smiles. He was quoted on July 15th as saying, "Zion is the future of this franchise. We are fully committed to him, and we're excited to get a long-term deal done that secures his place in New Orleans for years to come." The public message was one of unity and partnership. But behind the scenes, the Pelicans' legal team was already deep in the weeds, crafting the aggressive language for Exhibit 3. Throughout August, negotiations were described as productive but complex. The complexity were the incentives. Zion wanted a standard designated rookie extension, fully guaranteed. The Pelicans insisted on their custom-built protection clauses. The breaking point came around September 22, 2025, the reported start of the holdout. This was just before the start of training camp. The Pelicans sent over what they considered their final offer, with the stringent wait and games play clauses included. Zion's camp rejected it, stating that they would not report to camp under those terms. This timeline reveals the disconnect between public relations and private strategy. The Pelicans wanted to project stability to their season ticket holders and the league, while simultaneously ensuring they had an ironclad financial escape route. The timing of the holdout shows Zion is refusing to be a part of that PR strategy. They are forcing the conflict into the open before the season begins, making it clear that the public image of commitment does not match the private reality of the contract terms. This brings us to the ultimate question of power. Why hold out now and risk fines and a PR nightmare? The answer is leverage. As of today, Zion Williamson hasn't signed the extension. He is still in the final year of his rookie deal. By holding out of training camp, he is signaling that